Good afternoon and welcome to the Office of Economic Development Business Information Session. My name is Margaret McGee. I'm the Business Services Manager. Business services assist entrepreneurs and business owners in starting and growing their business. We help in navigating through the different departments within city government to obtain permits and licenses. We also connect the business community with organizations that can provide technical assistance, incentives, resources, and other programs beneficial in operating a business. One way we do this is to host business information sessions. These sessions are held throughout the year, and topics are gathered from entrepreneurs, surveys, and information we collect from the business community. This is the last of 3 sessions focusing on writing proposals. Today we have Ms. Colleen Broussard-Perry, a senior government contracting consultant and certified procurement professional with ULL, Louisiana Apex Accelerator program. She will share her expertise about writing solicited and unsolicited proposals. To keep down distractions, attendees, please turn your videos off and mute your speakers. I ask that you place your questions in the chat box and she'll get to them when she has the opportunity. All handouts provided to me will be shared with everyone within 24 to 48 hours. Once this meeting has ended. Now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Perry.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Colleen Broussard-Perry, and I'm going to go through a presentation this afternoon talking about solicited and unsolicited proposals. Just a little bit of background on me. I'm actually a retired federal contracting officer. I had a 35-year career with the federal government. 32 of those was in contracting. My last assignment was as the chief of contracting for the Louisiana Air National Guard out at the Naval Station out in Belle Chase. So today we're going to talk about the topic of solicited and unsolicited proposals. And I'm going to go to the next slide. So here you have an introduction of what we're going to talk about today. It's understanding government solicited and unsolicited proposals, finding opportunities at the local, state, and federal levels, and the best practices for proposal development once you have found what it is that you're actually looking for. So why government contracting matters it can provide steady revenue and growth opportunities, which we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Enhances competitiveness in the federal and state programs, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Apex Accelerators and how they can assist you with the compliance and the registrations required. So I wanted to go in and talk a little bit about what's going on within the federal government. As we all know, last week there was a funding that was going to extend the federal government through the 30th of September 2025. These are the key highlights of what's going on with regards to that funding. The funding levels generally remain consistent with those that were actually put out for fiscal year 2024. There's an increase in spending for defense and immigration enforcement, reduction in non-defense funding, the elimination of fiscal year 2024 earmarked projects. So they actually removed $15.9 billion from the FY 2025 bill. And then it was a recession of $20.5 billion in IRS funding, which had been put in place to help with the impact that was going on with everybody getting their tax returns, being able to reach somebody at IRS So that's all changed and has gone away. And then the impact that it's had on government contracting, once again, increased defense and immigration funding, which may lead to, higher contract opportunities in those sectors. So that's kind of why I wanted to point that out. There's a reduction in non-defense funding. It could affect the availability of grants and contracts in other areas, which, we're kind of starting to see that. And then I'm making a suggestion here that as all entities out there, that you should monitor, these funding changes to align with your bids and any new priorities that might come about. So, and then here's just the key policy impacts of government contracting, understanding, how federal, state, and local funding policies can be impacted by what's going on. So here's what it did do. You have some supplemental nutrition program, WIC. They got some increased funding. Unemployment insurance, well, we kind of figure out why that's going on. And then housing programs, there was money allocated for rental assistance. SBA loans, they got an allocation that could mean, some small business recovery support contracts. Health and Human Services, Medicaid and family support programs that drive contracting in healthcare staffing and program management. Not too affected, but affected. State and local law enforcement for justice programs and for the COPS program. So you can see the amounts of funding that those received. And that's why I wanted to put that slide in here, because I want everybody to kind of, peel their eyes on, what's going on that side of the house. And so here's how the contract, that continuing resolution affects government contracting with solicited solicitations for RFPs, RFQs, and IFPs. Agencies will have to prioritize spending on defense and immigration due to increased funding. Non-defense projects may see delays or reductions, and we're kind of seeing that. There's things that were actually on the forecast for a lot of federal agencies that are now kind of in limbo. Contractors, once again, should align, proposals, with new government spending priorities. But that's why I'm putting this kind of out there. For unsolicited proposals, with earmarked projects removed, agencies may be more receptive to innovation solutions to address funding gaps. Businesses can leverage unique capabilities, and notice I got those little asterisks in between, to propose cost-effective alternatives in areas of reduced funding. Agencies may seek creative partnerships due to these budgetary constraints. And then here's just some key takeaways for you all. Target sectors with increased funding, defense, immigration, enforcement, etc. Monitor agency procurement forecasts. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's actually been frozen on there or taken off of there. And some agencies have taken down their forecasting information. And then develop, competitive unsolicited proposals that address some unmet needs that may result from, these budget cuts. So that's kind of why I wanted to put that in there. So now let's jump into solicited versus unsolicited proposal. Here's a comparative table that kind of gives you the difference between solicited and unsolicited proposals. As you can see, there's the definition there for solicited. It's a response to a formal request issued by a government agency or, a commercial entity. Unsolicited proposal is a vendor-initiated proposal submitted without a formal request. And then as far as for how those are actually initiated, the solicited is usually issued by the buyer, the government agency, corporations, through that RFP, RFQ, or even RFP. And then the unsolicited is initiated by you all as the vendor to introduce a new solution, idea, or service. And then the competitive nature. So we all know that solicited proposals are highly competitive, often with multiple bidders pursuing that. On the unsolicited proposal side, it's less competitive, but must stand out by demonstrating a very clear value to that agency. And then solicited proposals would have to meet, strict guidelines, evaluation criteria, and submission deadlines, which, we just received word that some of that under the federal guidelines is probably going to change because they're actually looking at doing a rewrite of the Federal Acquisition Regulation Part 15. That's something that's new that just came out that I just read about this morning and wanted to share that. Unsolicited proposals must comply with applicable regulations, but lacks, a predefined evaluation criteria. So there is a way to actually submit an unsolicited proposal. In the evaluation process, of course, solicitations are evaluated against specific either scoring criteria outlined in the solicitation. So on the state and some of the local levels, they do use more of a scoring type evaluation. On the federal side, they do things more without that numbering. They usually tell you that you're going to be evaluated on, these specific items. And when they do the actual evaluation, it's done as a color code. So, green may mean excellent. Yellow may mean something cautionary. Red may mean that no, they didn't, cut the mustard, right? And so, in unsolicited proposals, they're evaluated based on its relevance, the feasibility, and the value to the actual buyer. On the solicitation proposal side, in the innovation factor, generally you have to follow the prescribed requirements. There's limited space for innovation unless they ask you for that in the actual solicitation. On the unsolicited side, innovation and differentiations are critical to capture the interests of that specific agency that you may have reached out to. Markability, the agency already has a defined need, increasing the likelihood of a contract award when they solicit for something. In the unsolicited world, the vendor must create demand and convince the agency of the proposal's necessity, okay? And then the success factors under the solicited proposals, competitive pricing, compliance, past performance, and alignment with the requirements are just a few of the things that, they're actually looking for. In the unsolicited proposal, they're looking for strong value propositions, cost-benefit analysis, alignment with strategic goals. So you just can't say, I'm going to do an unsolicited proposal and not have a plan for it. The typical uses of the solicited proposals: government contracts, structure procurement processes for formal procurement bids. And then under unsolicited proposal, they're looking for new technology, process improvements, or solutions that address emerging challenges. And then lastly, the challenges of solicited proposals. They're highly competitive. They have, with somewhat rigid requirements and limited flexibility in the response, because they basically outline everything they want from you, how they want it, even down to the point of, if they tell you you're limited to 10 pages and 12 new enrollments, that's what they actually mean. On the unsolicited proposal side, requires, significant effort to persuade decision makers and navigate bureaucracy. Basically, that is the difference.
Ms. Perry, I hate to.
Let's just go on to the features of a solicited proposal using the Federal Acquisition Regulation. There's strict compliances with guidelines. Of course, I just talked about FAR Part 15, and that's normally how they send out their request for proposals. That is the section that right now is being looked at to be updated within FAR. And I think it might actually take place because there's not been a rewrite on that. And I mean, FAR's been around for quite some time, like going back to the 1980s. So it's going to probably change significantly because of what's going on right now in the contracting world. Then you have, you know, the competitive selection process, which falls under FAR Part 6, and 6.1 discusses full and open competition, and it mandates that agencies, you know, seek maximum competition unless specific exemptions apply. So there are some exemptions that are out there, and government agencies sometimes have to actually follow those. And a lot of the times that has to do with anything that is a danger to the federal government, where they have to process something through very quickly. They may ask for an exemption. Then there's the best value. So that's one of these newer things that's come up within the federal government. That's contained over in FAR Part 15.101. And in a lot of solicitations, they're actually asking you to provide them with something that adds best value to your proposal. And what I always tell my clients, don't give away the farm with the milk or the cow, because you want to give them something that's of best value that is not a cost to you as a contractor. So it could be something as simple as you're reading through, and it has to do with maintenance, and they didn't talk about you providing them any kind of a maintenance schedule, or how you're going to, you know, actually go back on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis to do certain things for some work that you are going to conduct for them. I just helped a client with that. They were asking for something that was of best value. And as I read through the actual solicitation, I saw that they had no information in there about a schedule for him to come back and do like little service type things for them, because he was actually looking to install an HVAC unit. You just can't install them and stick them up there and then, you know, there's no future maintenance on them. So we created that, and he actually did win that particular bid just based on that little thing, and it didn't cost him. And then you have FAR Part 14, which is very rarely used, sealed bidding. The federal government has kind of gotten away from that. There are a few that come out. They fall under IFB, and it's kind of a little antiquated. It kind of blocks the government into not being able to do certain things that they can do with other parts of the FAR. So that's why they write things now as an RFQ or an RFP, because it gives them the allowance to actually hold discussions with you in case there's something in there that they quite don't understand, or there's something in there that's very unique, and they want to, you know, kind of get a little more information on it. Those other two forms actually allow them to be able to do that. So that's why that's kind of gone away a little bit. And then here's the process for finding solicitations. So at the local level, you check your city or county websites for bid opportunities. The state procurement agencies, you need to visit your state. So, you know, ours is the PAC here in Louisiana. If you want to, you know, look outside of Louisiana, you would use the same information. For federal procurements, you're going to, of course, look at sam.gov, acquisition forecasts, and I've given the web link for that. Like I said, some of them are quite not working right now. And then individual agency websites. Many federal agencies list opportunities on their own sites. DOD is one of them that sometimes you have to actually go to their websites in order to find some of their information. Consider doing networking and procurement conferences. We here at the Louisiana Apex, for our registered clients, we offer Scopology events. These are actually trainings that are online. We just had the National 8A Association Conference that was in New Orleans back in February. A great place for you all to be able to come out, meet with both federal and commercial entities. In November of last year, they did the SAME conference, which was the military folks that put on an engineering conference. There were over 1,000 booths at that particular event, and there were 6,500 people that actually did attend that. They did put the numbers out for that. And for the National 8A, there were 2,500 people that actually attended that back in February. Make sure that you're engaging in industry days and matchmaking events. There is an industry day March 27th with the Army Corps of Engineers New Orleans District. It was to be in person. It's been moved to a virtual platform because at the present time, there are a majority of the federal agencies that they were inviting that have zero capability of being able to use their travel cards because they've been reduced to $1 whole. So they are, trying to do the best they can with a lot of these. And you're going to see more and more of that actually moved to virtual. And, just try to follow those things. If you're not on LinkedIn, make certain that you have a business LinkedIn page and that you connect to these agencies, because right now that is where they are posting a lot of their virtual events, to include Miss Jo from the Small Business Administration. They put a lot of their information on LinkedIn. And so you want to craft an effective solicitation proposal. So the key elements of a strong solicitation proposal, first of all, understand the scope of work clearly, because that's going to clearly define the deliverables and how they align with the agency needs. Follow the compliance requirements, ensure your adherence to FAR, DFAR, and state procurement guidelines. Demonstrate capability and past performance. So they want you to showcase your expertise, your relevant experience, and any successful projects that you've executed. So it's kind of important. Provide competitive pricing, offer cost-effective solutions that align with budget constraints, because sometimes they'll even tell you, depending on who the agency is, what their constraints are. So for the federal government in construction, if you read through the actual solicitation at the very beginning, they'll give you the value of the project is between 100 million and 150 million. They're kind of giving you a hint, what they're anticipating the bids to come in at, right? That doesn't mean that you have to bid at that, but they're giving you, subliminal hints. And then, of course, you want to be certain that you incorporate, your technical and management approach. Very, very important. If they ask you for resumes, the methodology, any kind of timelines, milestones, you have to, actually, look at those items and, how do you incorporate that into your proposal? The best practice for proposal writing: customize your response, tailor each proposal to the specific RFP, RFQ. Do not copy paste. Well, hey, I did this for this one the last time. I'll just copy paste it and put it in this one. What does it really fit? And I'm going to just say this: federal government agencies, horrible at that. Okay, you look at a solicitation package, and I look at a lot of them, and I go, they copy pasted this, and they left some things in here from the last one that they issued. So just be careful that you aren't doing that. Use clear and concise language. Avoid jargon. Ensure clarity in your presenting your solutions. If you use any acronyms, spell it out first, acronym information in parentheses, and then, from there forward, you can kind of, use that acronym. And that's just a good tool to realize. Address the evaluation factors. Now, here's my take on looking at a solicitation, and this is what I give to all my clients. Look at it in reverse. Look at the evaluation factors first and foremost, because that's going to tell you exactly how everything is going to be evaluated. If it tells you in there that they're looking for you to provide them for 3 to 5 years of past performance and you've only been in business for 2, that's a disqualifier. That's why they put those in there. And that's why I tell people read backwards, because should you spend your time putting a proposal together when you don't meet, some of the evaluation factors? If you meet the evaluation factors, go to the next part that I always say is the next important part. And that's this part, crafting. Okay, what are the instructions to offerer, instructions to proposer, instructions to bidder, however they want to word it? You need to look at that. Be certain, that you are capturing everything that they're asking you for in those instructions, all the way down to, what documents they need for you to actually attach to your proposal, and how you're going to return it, etc. All right. And then the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to go back and look at that performance work statement, that statement of work, whatever they want to name it, and you're going to cross-reference that statement of work with the information that's contained in the evaluation factors. That is just a good way of kind of, pulling everything together to make certain that you don't miss something, right? So, and then I got it. Next thing is talking about, include strong supporting documentation. If they're asking you for financials, references, team resumes, compliance certifications, have those available, and make certain that everything is put in the order, because that's the other thing they tell you in the instructions is how they want everything comprised, what order they actually want that in, and that's for a reason. And then make sure that you review and edit thoroughly, ensure accuracy, completeness, and compliance before submission. So that's one of the other, really, really important aspects of crafting an effective solicitation proposal. So here's just a little bit of in-depth explanation of procurement best practices. Submit through the correct procurement channels, which means, hey, if they ask you to mail it, mail it. If they ask you to email it, email it. Make certain it's going to the correct email. If it tells you it's a Dropbox, make certain that it goes to the specific Dropbox. Identify, that appropriate portal, which I've got there. So federal opportunities are typically listed SAMs, GSA eBuy, or other agency-specific platforms, even on PIEE. So the Army Corps of Engineers is now actually using PIEE to list a lot of their requirements. And it's the same platform that they're wanting you to utilize to actually upload your response to them. DIBS, that's the Defense Logistics Agency. EMAC, that's now something that's used by the Department of Interior. Some contracts require submission to specific electronic procurement systems, such as Seaport for the Navy contracts, or NASA SWEP for IT products. Follow submission instructions precisely, which we kind of went over that already. If they're doing an IFB, that's where the section L instructions and the section M evaluation criteria are actually buried. So you kind of have to go and look for them when they do an IFB. RFQ, RFP, the instructional information is very clear. Ensure that all required documents, including technical proposal, past performance, pricing, is included and formatted as requested. upload documents before the deadline to avoid technical issues. So with me, with my clients, if something is due today, I tell them you should have it in there no later than Friday or Monday, because anything could happen today when it's due. The portal could not work. You can't upload your information. So don't put yourself in that cross here where you can't get something in. And I've had clients lose out on things because they couldn't get into a portal because they tried to put it in on the day that it was due. So always just keep that in mind. Your certifications and eligibility. Some solicitations are, actually set aside for service-disabled veteran-owned small business, for women-owned small business, hub zone, 8A, etc. If it says that and you don't have one of those certifications, then you don't qualify to actually respond to that particular solicitation. Ensure registrations and certifications are current in SAM.gov, because for federal agencies, if your SAM.gov profile is expired, they can't make an award to you. And it's a lot to jump through hoops in order to get your SAM.gov updated, especially once it's expired. It has a lot of issues that are attached to it, and I don't know why. I can't answer that. SBA, DSBS. If you're a woman-owned, service-disabled veteran, hub zone, 8A, be certain that your profile in SBA's DSBS actually indicates that information, because that's actually where the contract specialist goes to look to make certain that you have what you say you have, okay? And then any other agency-specific database. Common procurement submission errors to avoid: missing forms or attachments. So in the on the federal side of the house, they're going to either use a standard form 1449, a standard form 33. They're going to ask you for things like your reps and certs. Okay, Colleen, where is that located? That is located in your SAM.gov profile. You can go in, it's called Representations and Certifications. You click on it, it will let you download that information, and you can then PDF that document to attach with your proposal information. Be certain that you're looking at your NAICS codes, your product service codes, because there are some actual solicitations that the agency itself requires that a specific NAICS code actually be in their eyesight when they look at your clause 52.219-1. That's where you indicate your NAICS codes. Your primary NAICS code is usually at the top, and it says that it's your primary NAICS code, and they may be looking for that information at that specific clause. Note meeting pages, my bad, count limits, font requirements, or file format specifications. Late submissions, even a few minutes late, can result in that being rejected. So just kind of keep that information in mind. Follow up with decision makers. There's ways to actually do that. These are some of the key players that you can connect with. Contracting officer, contract specialist, program managers, small business liaison, Office of Small Business Development Utilization. These are the players, but normally to contact the contracting officer, the contract specialist, or program manager, you actually have to go through their Office of Small Business Utilization and get a meeting with them in order to meet with those other individuals. And then, of course, the small business liaison, they're located at a lot of agencies for the federal government, as well as for state agencies, some of the local municipalities, and the parishes, because I've spoken to a few of them. Effective follow-up strategies, pre-solicitation stage. If you see a sources sought notification or an RFI, engage early by asking clarifying questions and demonstrating your capabilities. After submission, if the solicitation allows, send a courteous follow-up email confirming receipt and asking for estimated timelines for the award decision. Post-award, if you're not selected, Request a debriefing to understand why your proposal was not chosen and how you can improve for future opportunities. Try to build relationships. Once again, attending industry days, matchmaking events, and agency briefings to create direct relationships with those decision makers. Best practices follow up, keep communications professional and concise. Avoid excess follow-ups. If an agency states they need time, respect their timeline, because sometimes especially when they're doing an RFP, they may have quite a few that they need to look through. They have to be certain that it meets the criteria of what they've written on the back end that you all don't get to see. There's actually a document that they have to write that tells them how they're going to evaluate everybody's proposal that they're looking at. So this is something that doesn't get put out there publicly, but that's actually how it works. And then document all communication in case there's any kind of a dispute that might take place. So I always tell everyone, save your emails. CYA kind of important. Maintain compliance and prepare for debriefing. So if you get the opportunity to actually get a debrief, it has to be done in a certain time frame. As you can see here, when you prepare for a debriefing, if you win or lose a contract, so you don't have to actually even lose the contract, you can win the contract. And a debrief is, not a negotiation, but an opportunity to understand how your proposal was evaluated. You can only ask about your proposal, not someone else's, not everybody else's. And then within the time frame specified in the specification, in the solicitation, usually 3 to 5 days after the notification of the actual award. Here's some questions that you can kind of prepare yourself. What are the strengths and weaknesses of my proposal? How did I compare to the competition? You can ask that, right? Where were there areas where I was non-compliant? Kind of important. That's what you want to know. If you find irregularities or unfair evaluations, you may consider actually filing a protest with the agency or GAO. Okay, so so those are kind of your ways to kind of do that. And always stay with the compliance requirements. Always look at the terms that are in section C, which is normally the scope of work. Section F, which tells you about the delivery schedule. Invoicing and payment. If you're working with the federal government, they use wide area workflow or IRAP, as they want to call it, for invoicing. Cybersecurity compliance of handling sensitive data, ensure compliance with CMMC, NEST 800-171, and the DFARS. That's the DFAR clause that actually says that they want you to have that cybersecurity. If you're not doing anything that's at a secret level, but you're dealing with specifically the DoD, because that's what right now, that CMMC compliance only refers to DoD. You can do level 1, which is a self-certification. And I've actually helped a few clients obtain that and get that information uploaded, and they've gotten a response back that says that they're now in the database that shows that they comply with level 1. And level 1 is basically just being certain that you have certain things in place with regards to your laptops, your cell phones, that you've got the Norton on there, that sort of thing. And you have to actually write up a compliance document that says, what you have in place that's protecting government information. And that's level 1. You're going to do bigger things. They want you to do levels 2 and 3, and those are more in depth. So here are the features of an unsolicited proposal. It's a unique business opportunity where a company or an individual presents an idea. Has to be something that's innovative or a service that government agency doesn't know that they don't have. To be successful, these proposals must stand out and meet specific criteria. So it must demonstrate, some significant value. It should offer a groundbreaking or highly beneficial solution that the agency may not have considered before. Whether it's through cutting edge technology, cost saving efficiency, or a unique service, it must clearly show how it enhances an agency's operations, aligns with specific goals that they have, or solves a pressing problem. It could be something that you see. We were talking this morning about wide area workflow and how arduous it is for a contractor to even just upload their invoice to get paid. Hey, if somebody out there, has a better thought process as how that database might work, that might be an innovative idea that they might actually look at, because it is kind of twisted the way you have to do things in there. And it could be the same with other entities that you engage with that have a similar type of platform that kind of has things that don't go quite right. It requires thorough research and agency alignment. It has to be a well-crafted proposal, not just about a great idea. It's about the right fit. It means you have to conduct in-depth research on the agency's mission, ongoing initiatives, and potential gaps that you might see that you might have experienced maybe working with that specific agency. The proposal must be seamless, integrate into the agency's objectives, showing a deep understanding of their priorities and how you propose the solution that is going to complement their existing efforts. Compliance with proprietary protection requirements. Since unsolicited proposals often involve proprietary technology, unique methodologies, or confidential business strategies, it's critical to ensure proper protections are in place. This includes marking sensitive information accordingly and adhering to regulations that safeguard intellectual property while allowing agencies to fairly evaluate the proposal. So once again, don't give away your farm. What constitutes an unsolicited proposal? The definition is for federal agency is found in FAR 2.101. An unsolicited proposal is a written proposal for a new or innovative idea submitted to an agency by a company on its own initiative to obtain a government contract without being in response to a solicitation. It has to comply on the federal side with FAR 15603, paragraph C. An unsolicited proposal must be innovative and unique, be independently originated and developed, be prepared without government direction or involvement, provide enough detail to justify government support, not address a known agency requirement or need that could be met via competition. So once again, you got to stand out. So in preparing to submit an unsolicited proposal, what you're going to do first of all is research the agency's mission to align your proposal. Conduct preliminary inquiries to determine interest and fit. Minimize upfront spending, because there's no guarantee of funding. So don't go all out and do a dumorama and submit it, and then you paid for that, and then you're looking for some kind of a payback on it. It's not going to happen. Preliminary discussions can help. Identify objectives or concerns, e.g., lack of military application for DoD contracts. That could be one. Adjust the proposal to better match agency needs. Strengthen alignment with the government priorities. And we saw some of those at the beginning when I talked about what's going on with the continuing resolution information. So when you submit an unsolicited proposal, it must include your company name, address, and organizational type, contract details for evaluation or negotiations, identification of any proprietary data list, because you don't want if you don't mark it proprietary, you're leaving it open for anybody to use your information. That's why I've got that in those little asterisks. A list of other agencies receiving the proposal, if that's what you're going to do, submission date, and an authorized signature. It's going to be the technical information required, title and abstract, no more than 200 words of the service or project product, because so you see there's a limitation there, 200 words, to make sure that you do your word count. If it says 201, they might just reject it because that's how stringent even unsolicited proposals can actually be. You're going to give a detailed discussion of the objectives, the approach, results that align with that agency's mission, biographies of the key personnel, and support needs from the agency, facilities and logistics materials. So if you're considering, wanting to incorporate into some of their information. It's going to include a proposed price or total cost estimate. You have to do the validity period of the proposal, preferred contract type and duration. You're going to tell them all of that, right? Hey, base year options, or just a 12-month contract award. You have to put that information in there. Normally, they tell you in the solicited proposal exactly how that's going to work out for you, right? You're going to do your organizational capabilities, experience, and you're going to give them some past performance. You can add statements, if applicable, conflicts of interest, security clearance requirements, environmental impact considerations, and then you're going to mark anything that's proprietary information as per FAR 15609, paragraph A. So, what happens after you submit your unsolicited proposal? The government has an evaluation process. They're going to acknowledge receipt as soon as possible. If the evaluation exceeds 45 days, an agency provides an interim status update, final notification once evaluation is complete. And let's say that your unsolicited proposal may be rejected. If they extend it on an existing program or meet an agency need that should be competitively bid, they might reject it. They may base it on information already publicly available. So you don't want to give them something that's already out there that they can just push a button, go and Google it, and hey, there it is. They were solicited by an agency outside of standard competition procedures. So just some things to kind of keep in mind. Who can award an unsolicited proposal? Only a duly constituted contracting officer can enter into binding contracts. So just keep that in mind. That person has to be warranted in order to actually sign any unsolicited proposal. Personnel handling or evaluation proposals cannot make financial commitments. So this is something that you sent to somebody outside of the contracting officer. Remember that person doesn't have the authority to commit the government to anything. And if the contracting officer sees value, they may negotiate the proposal if it receives a favorable evaluation. And the proposal meets FAR 15.607 requirements, and the agency confirms that competition is not required. Funds are available. That's going to be a biggie. Funds are available, and required approvals and justifications are secured as per FAR Part 6.3, which we kind of talked about that a little earlier on. And then here's a couple of success stories here in Louisiana that I kind of wanted to share that I kind of went through and dug and found. Here's a IV Waste $5.9 million sanitation contract. They secured a one-year emergency garbage collection contract valued at $5.9 million for New Orleans French Quarter in Downtown Development District. The solicitation process, the company submitted the lowest bid among 4 contenders, leading to the contract award. The service commitment was operations under this contract began on December 23rd, 2024. And here's the context of what that was. The emergency bidding process was initiated after the city's administration proposed long-term contract with another firm failed to secure city council approval. So that's kind of how that went. And then as you can see, in the unsolicited proposal, there was Axiom's unsolicited proposal transforming Baton Rouge mobility. The proposal submittal was presented to an unsolicited public-private partnership proposal known as the Baton Rouge Urban Renewal and Mobility Plan. The proposal aimed to enhance connectivity by linking I-10 on the West Bank to the underutilized US 190 Mississippi River Bridge and upgrading the existing US 190, US 61 corridor into a free-flowing freeway ending near PQ Avenue on I-10 on the West Bank, on the East Bank. So the objective of the plan sought to address congestion issues, improve traffic flow, and stimulate economic development in the Baton Rouge area. And then here was the process. Upon submission, the proposal underwent feasibility studies and evaluations by Louisiana Department of Transportation and Louisiana Transportation Authority. So as you can see, there's that possibility out there. And then here's another one, and this actually is my client. In July of 2023, Wingate Engineering, a 100% disadvantaged business enterprise, was awarded a $75 million contract by Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for discretionary grant administration services statewide. And so the scope of the work encompassed the administration of grants across the state, which includes tasks such as application preparation, compliance monitoring, reporting, and coordinating with various stakeholders to ensure effective grant management. So, the probabilities out there, if you find them, they're there. And then here's just some key takeaways for navigating federal contracting under the FY continuing resolution, because I kind of wanted to just come back to that. Align with funding priorities. As small businesses, you want to look at that. Leverage all SBA programs. We kind of talked about those all through the presentation. The 8A, the Hub Zone, the Women-Owned, the Service Disabled Veteran. Proactively identify contract opportunities. Regularly monitor SAM.gov, procurement forecasts, LAPAC. Whoever it is that you're actually gearing your business towards, that's who you want to follow. Strengthen your relationship with the Office of Small Business Development and Utilization. They can help provide critical insight into procurement strategies and upcoming opportunities. So you want to have that relationship with those individuals. Capitalize on subcontracting opportunities. That's going to probably be one of the bigger things, I think, for this current fiscal year 25. Enhance proposal competitiveness, high quality proposals that showcase unique capabilities, past performance. And what I'm suggesting to a lot of my clients, there is actually a platform for Canva that is free that you can utilize to help you design your response back for a proposal. And that's a great way to showcase that you're trying to do this professionally. Maintain compliance, and adaptability. Stay compliant with federal regulations, state regulations. Who's ever changing anything out there? Make certain that you're on top of that. Very, very, very important for you to understand those things. And then here's how the Louisiana Apex Accelerators can assist. We try to serve as a bridge between small business and government agencies. We offer some hands-on support to enhance competitiveness and increase contract win rates. Here are some of our key functions. We have one-on-one proposal development support. Now, we can't give you the pricing, we can't tell you how to price it, but you know, I do a lot of reviews for the purpose of being certain that my clients are in being inclusive of everything that they're entitled to, as far as for when they put that pricing together, all the way down to the travel. You know, if you have to travel, you know, portal to portal, that information is important. Make certain that you do market research on your competitors. If you don't know, you can go to FPDS-NG. You can actually search that. In that database, you can ask it under your primary NAICS code to do a search for you. And what it will do will pull up a page for you. In the left-hand corner of that page, it shows you the top 10 agencies that buy your specific product, the sub-agency that buys it the most, and then 10 of your competitors, the people that are out there that, you know, you're trying to figure out who they are. So, you know, utilize, you know, that type of information. And then we can assist you, you know, with your small business certifications if you're not already there with some of them. You know, I've helped people actually, you know, even read through their packages, even going back to the city of New Orleans, because sometimes they'll miss things that they were supposed to put in there. I've looked at things for people for Louisiana DOTD, DBE. I've looked at their package and said, hey, you've got the wrong form in here. They've updated that form. Here's the proper form. So that's, you know, kind of my line and what I do. We can facilitate introductions to contracting officers. And, hey, and I've done that if I've had to, because sometimes, you know, you're looking at certain things and it doesn't make sense. And a lot of people go, oh no, I don't want to reach out to them. Okay, well, why not? You know, if you don't tell them that there's a problem with something that they posted, and that, hey, that's both on the federal side and on the state side and anybody else. If they give you a point of contact, that's what that person is there for. Utilize that information to your benefit. If you just answer everything the way they laid it out and you know it's wrong, you could be giving them the incorrect pricing, and then you know, once you're tied into that specific contract, there's only one way that they see that they can let you out of that contract. And you don't want that, because then you end up on somebody's naughty list because, you know, you didn't complete, you know, the work that they requested of you. So, you know, you don't want that, because on the federal side, they'll actually debar you from being able to do future work with the federal government. So just be careful of that. We can assist you with, you know, the pre-solicitation engagements, such as requests for information, sources sought. And I always tell everyone, when you look at those requests for information, if it's asking you a lot of things in deep detail, be very careful about what you give them, because they can then utilize your information to prepare their solicitation. And then you're locked out from being able to actually bid on the actual solicitation because they used your information. So just be careful with that. That's, you know, one of those areas that a lot of people, you know, don't realize it could happen, but it happens. And I've seen it happen. And, you know, here's how you can contact us. We've got a main office at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Our services are open to Louisiana-based businesses that are for profit, and it's either small, medium, or large businesses. The services we offer are at no cost. The only thing that we ask of our clients, because we do have you know, certain expectations, is for you to, you know, stay in communication and meet with your Apex Accelerator counselor at least once a year. Update points of contact and company capabilities if something changes. Report your contract awards, whether they're federal, state, local, parish. We want to know, because that information actually feeds back to Louisiana economic development. If we ask you to complete a survey, if you're a client, complete the survey. Let us know how we're doing. And then myself personally, I have a satellite office at River Parish Community College. And, you know, I have a lot of my clients come out there and actually meet with me. I do try at least once a month to go into New Orleans and use the facilities out at JETCO and West Wego to meet with clients one-on-one, giving them, you know, personal attention. And that is the end of of my presentation.
Because I really couldn't tell. So I'm glad that worked out good for everyone. So do anyone have any questions?
I have a general question, kind of a specific question. If you have applied for, I have a question. I don't know how to word it. Letter of interest. So if you are to the point where you've submitted a letter of interest, you've got correspondence that you've been one of the applicants, but with everything that's going on, I mean, it's kind of been on hold and everything, would you go ahead and start trying to make sure that your business has those aligned certifications, specifically more like 8A that is very time specific? You don't want to do it too early, you don't want to do it too late. How early is too early to start getting ready for that process if you're in the process of trying to obtain contracting and funding?
Okay, so, you know, that's a question that is, you know, where are you in the procurement readiness queue, right? So I look at it this way. How long have you been in business? You know, what's your past performance? And I tell people that come to me and say, well, I don't have any past performance. Okay, well, wait a minute. You know, before you started this business, what did you do? Right? So that is past performance. And you know, that equates to something. And that's, you know, kind of how I guide people. Okay, so, you know, we've done this, you've done this, and then, you know, what certification actually fits you, right? Because for hub zone, your business address has to actually be in that hub zone. Woman-owned small business is one of the other SBA certifications. And if you're a woman-owned small business and your NAICS code aligns with the NAICS codes that were put out, and Ms. Joe, correct me, I think the last time they were updated was 2022. But it shows you in there that, you know, you can, here are the NAICS codes that refer over to the women-owned small business. And what the women-owned small business program is about, and why they put those NAICS codes out there, is those are the NAICS codes that women are underrepresented in the business world. Okay, so if you fit one of those, then you apply for the WSB. Service disabled veteran, you have to have been a veteran who has certification from the Department of Veteran Affairs that you're a disabled vet, and that's how that certification works. Under the 8A program, there have been some changes that were made to that program because of the protests that happened last summer, and so there is a way for you to actually discuss why you feel that you should be part of that 8A program, because that's kind of the best way I can kind of, explain it. And it's no longer, the way it used to be, how they want you to write that. It's a different way. You have to write that response. And SBA actually, makes that determination as to whether you'll be accepted into the 8A program, because it is an actual program. So I think, Ms. West, you are actually my client, and we haven't spoken in a while. Reach out to me, and let us go back and look through your client profile and, what's, you've actually have accomplished, and, let's try to, get you moved forward with, where you're trying to go with your business.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you so much, and I am.
Hey, I'm good with names. I remember things.
I'm glad you guys can reconnect.
Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, so it was a lot of information, but you know what? I wanted to kind of take everything from a perspective of, the contracting world we're in right now. I do want everybody to realize that if you haven't looked lately, there's a lot going on right here within the state of Louisiana. There's a lot of things being posted to LAPAC. Because I've been in there, in and out of there a lot lately, because I have clients that reach out to me and say, Ms. Colleen, I want to bid on this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, well, okay, well, can I get a copy of, what it is you're looking at, so I can kind of help you to, maneuver how to make that response back to them. And I'm very good at my clients being able to come back to me reviewing their proposals, and giving them, good feedback on, what I see, what I don't see, what I think they, need to include. I just did that, for a client yesterday. She had a very good presentation, but when I compared her proposal to the actual solicitation, she had 3 things missing out of it. And those 3 things could be the difference between her getting the award and not getting it. So those are just the little things that, you want to think about when you're doing any type of proposal. That's why I said it's, best to look at the statement of work, 3rd in line, and then go back and compare the statement of work to the evaluation factors and make sure that, those all match to each other within your proposal itself, because that is what they're looking at. They're looking, do you meet the criteria of the evaluation factors that we put in?
I see Ms. Moses have her speaker off. Do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to raise my hand. So hi, Ms. Colleen and ladies, thanks for everything. So I do reside in the river parishes. So how can I get in contact with you to have an office call with you?
Okay, so what city are you in?
I'm in LaPlace. You said you have yes.
Yeah, you're in LaPlace, and so I'm at River Parish Community College. That is outside of my territory, because each counselor does have a territory, but I will meet with anyone.
Okay.
And I'm the closest. I'm the closest one to you.
Yes.
The other, the person that actually services your area is all the way across the bridge in Baton Rouge. So, as you saw on the slides, my contact information was not there, but let me give you my phone number. Area code 504-377-6032. Connect with me, and we'll talk about you coming out and meeting me at River Parish Community College, Gonzales. My normal business hours there are Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock. And Mondays and Wednesdays are by appointment, because a lot of times I'm out in the field. I've got other things going on, and Fridays are a short day. So I actually work remote on Fridays. So, but I always have try to do meetings and sorts whatnot on Mondays. So sometimes even for us, because our actual headquarters is ULL, I always beg to do any kind of meeting they want on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? I see some of my people on here. No, I don't have no questions.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I have put in the chat box information regarding doing business with the city. And also Ms. Joanne put in there, they have an event on March the 27th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and she invited everyone. So just wanted to let you guys know that. I want to thank Miss Colleen for taking the time out to be with us today and for giving us such valuable information. And to all of you for joining. Within 5 to 10 business days, this session will be added to the Office of Economic Development YouTube channel. This concludes the series of writing proposals. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please keep your eye out for future business information sessions. And I hope you all will join us the next time. I wish everyone a great day.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, I see.